Now that we've cut our 5 pieces, we are going to put them together to make a tool that will help us cut wood faster in the future. Now I do have several glues I could choose from. If all you have is Elmer's school glue, you can use that. I will warn you that it takes a really long time to dry. If I was going to use school glue on this project, I would not be able to use the piece minimum 24 hours, or I may pull it apart. Elmer's also makes a glue all, which does dry much faster, sets very quickly, but still will take a while to dry. And for this particular project, if we want to go quickly, we're going to want something that dries very quickly. Now personally, I prefer Aleene's Original Tacky Glue. You can find it anywhere. It's usually runs about $2 for 8 ounces, which is phenomenal compared to some of the other glues. Now this glue will tack very quickly to help us get all the pieces put on in one go. And then I do like to leave it for a day. I don't like to use these pieces right away, but usually within the hour it's strong enough to withstand normal use. So this is what we are going to use today. Now you have your 3 1/4 and 2 3/4, and you have your little one. We'll set those aside. We're going to take our shorter pieces and we are going to put glue on the edge. Good, smooth. Try not to have any on the bottom, and if you have any left on your finger, you can scrape it across the top. You can use a lot or a little bit, really, as long as you smooth it evenly. And of course, the more you use, the longer it's going to take to tack. But this is going to just go together. Now, if you don't like the way the pieces are meeting up, just flip it. Sometimes they're smoother. Not really here. Now we're just going to push that excess glue into the wood. It will dry clear, so you don't have to worry about white blotches, and you have time to adjust. You're going to squeeze that together, and then it's going to hold. Give it a minute, and it will dry, and it will be a tough hold. Then you're going to take, now it might be helpful to have an extra one. I'm going to lay this in the middle. Make sure it's not tacky. Or flip it even. Because you don't want that to stick. It's not to be permanent. Now you don't have to be perfect on this. You can just do whatever feels right. Get some glue. This is non-toxic, so you can touch it and can handle it. It's not a problem. That's Aleene's Tacky Glue. I'm not getting paid to say that. I'm just going to hold that down, and I'm going to place this one here. It's going to be slightly, I'm going to wait for that to dry a little longer. It can be slightly over. It is to be slightly over on either side. Doesn't really matter how much, though I would err on this side. I'm stuck on slow. I'm going to take the other one. Glue, glue, glue. This is a water-based glue. A lot of people like to water it down to do decoupage. Stick this one on the other side. Make sure you don't have, there's always going to be one side that has excess glue on it. Make sure you don't stick that to this. This is just a temporary guide. And we're just going to place it approximately the same place as the other one. Aleene's is forgiving, so I'm just going to reposition all of this. Now I'm not ready to glue this down yet, but I'm going to look for, you can tell the difference between the edges that you cut and the edges that came pre-cut. Now you want to put an edge that you cut down. You want to have the edges they cut because they're definitely straighter than your edges, I promise. Try to find your straightest edge, push it down in between the two sticks on the end. Oops, that's going to happen sometimes. Let's pause and give it a minute to dry. Okay, as I was saying, we're going to look for the pre-cut edges. We're going to put a tiny bit of glue. Oops. Here, here, and here. Again, this doesn't have to be exact. You can just kind of... I did the wrong edge, didn't I? No, I didn't. That's the top. Should see your cut at the top. And we're just going to carefully slide this in and drop it towards the end. Doesn't have to be straight, doesn't have to be perfect. Although the straighter the better. In fact, that looks a little crooked. I'm going to grab a pre-cut piece of wood just to straighten it out so I don't have to dig my fingers in there. Just a gentle push. Straight edge. Now, you're going to want to let that set about at least an hour before you go messing with it. Now, I have another one that I made previously, and now this one's a little fancier because I've started adding other pieces to it. Now, I'm going to be doing a box, which I started cutting pieces for. Right now, I'm not sure exactly where the box is going to go, so I've only cut one wall. I'm assuming at this point the idea is to have 4 walls. So I will need, if this is one wall, I will need 24 of these total. I'm not sure what I'm doing for the bottom or the top yet, so I'm going to leave that up in the air. Now, let's say you want to cut some wood. Now, again, we're using a sharp blade today, so if you are a child, please ask parent help you. If you are an adult and this is your first time, please take the time to watch the beginning of this video or the previous video, part 1. I have not decided if I'm going to combine these yet or not. Now I need to, first thing I want to do is cut off this top. Now as I showed you in the other video, I already have, you should already have some pieces laying around with straight lines. If you don't, well, then you'll have to measure, but I have some pieces that are already cut. Actually don't like that line. Let's get one of these. Now, this is the size I need for my next project, which is 97 millimeters. I could probably get 100 to 102 millimeters out of any single stick of wood. We're going to approximately center that, because later we could use the ends, since they come off so nicely, as other deco. Going to scratch, and we can do this very quickly since it's lined up. At least the first side. The second side, not so quickly, because you still need to do your rocking trick. Both sides. Find your line. Now I'm not measuring, I am just grabbing this for height so I can rock. Found my notch, rock. Just for scratch, maybe a small pull if it's not going down as low as I'd like. Corner, drag. About 3 times. Too small. Flip. Corner. Drag. That could be a little bit straighter. It's okay. Cut, cut. rock, 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 rock. It should come right off. Came right off. We're going to grab our trusty emery board, which we love. I'm going to use the harder side and put a little tiny bit of pressure on there because one of my lines was just a tiny bit crooked. Okay, now I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to pick one that I've already done. Now this is why we have this little bit of overlap here, so we can squeeze. Make sure it's pressed down all the way. You want it as straight as possible. Now we're going to cut. Don't press hard. Make sure you're lined up with the wood. If there's any give underneath, which does happen sometimes, but not super often, you can put another stick under there just to avoid movements that may mess up your cut. You're going to be so close, it's not going to matter if you're a tiny, tiny, tiny bit off. Now, unfortunately, we are still not going to be able to just flip this and do it, because then it's going to be uneven on the opposite side. So we're going to rock. Rock. Now you can see those two notches. Now, if you'd like, you can put your stick back in there. Your actual size stick that you need. Make sure they're flush. And you can check and see and scratch. Told you this was going to get faster. I have a little bit of movement, so I'm going to stick this under here just to keep it from going anywhere. Squeeze, notch, pull. Again, if you don't care about your surface in this case, you can go all the way across. You're not anywhere near your fingers, you should be fine. You can do most of your gashing at this point. Now, but you are going to want to definitely do your notches again on the sides, as little teeny itty bitty shards of wood will accumulate there. Now we're going to wiggle. I need a little deeper cut. I did slack on this side a bit. I was in a hurry. I'm in a hurry. See. Now I have 7, and they are all very even. You can take another one, line them up, and see they're all very, very even. Any that might be slightly off, you can always go back and sand a little tiny bit. You're not going to want to sand a lot. You're not going to need to sand a lot. It should be roughly perfect at this point. Now, if you're probably wondering what this is, I needed a right angle, so I created 2 right angles. I put them together. Now, if I need a right angle, all I need to do is put my stick. Usually it goes right in. Put my stick right in there. Start in the corner and pull. Don't let it move. I let it move. Alright, but anyway, you get the idea. Now, just be much lighter on your edges when you're measuring the other side. This is one of the harder cuts to do because if you go in too far, it's just going to break off unevenly, and you need to be able to do both sides. You could try doing this. I still get this wrong. It still takes me a couple tries to get it right. Put my notches in the corners, put it back in. It's upside down, the other side. and try to line that up. And there's a 75% chance I'm not going to line this up right. It's a work in progress. Anyway, we're going to scratch. Deeper over here. And here, when you're doing the diagonal, you do not want to find the notch, because your notches are not going to be nearly as deep as you want to cut once they come off. You're almost better off pulling the entire direction so that the notch is very simple. Snips, wiggle, wiggle. Okay, so here you can, I don't know if you can see, hopefully you can see that the one side is shallower than the other side, and sanding is going to be required to make those two sides even. And then I just go in one direction, actually put lots of pressure on it to get that smooth. Now that's pretty beautiful, and it's going to match up nicely if you want to do like mini pictures or picture frames. It's lovely. Okay, so now you know how to cut wood, and you know how to get nice, straight, and even. I'm going to be back at some point, and I'm going to make a box. And as I said, I'm still not sure where exactly I'm going to go, but if you have some free time before the video is posted, go make some of these. You're going to need, at this point, a minimum of 24. And you're going to need to take both sides off. And if you want to match my project, these are 97 millimeters long. And that is going to be our square. Alright, thank you for watching. And if you like my video, please hit like. I would appreciate it. And thank you. That's all.